Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for another video. I'm so excited to get into it again. So, I told you guys we were going to be talking a lot about Miss Sandra Bullock, and I am not going to disappoint. So for the next couple of videos, we're going to be talking about her, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. So this is a twofer because it's double the movies. There's two movies in this series, I guess. I kind of always wish they would make one more. Just one more. But there's only two, and it's fine. We are talking about Miss Congeniality 1 and 2. It's not April 25th, but it's always a perfect date to talk about these movies. So we're gonna go ahead and head into our whole synopsis. It's not going to take long because most people know what this movie is, but we're going to do that. And then also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Make sure you are turning on the post notifications. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends and comment below if you are as big of a fan of these movies as I am. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the synopsis because most people know what it's about and everything. I want to talk a lot about why I think millennial girls needed this movie. I feel like, especially the first one, it's so near and dear to my heart. And both these movies, I think every young girl needs this. And when they came out, it was a time when we all needed something to remind us how everybody is special and beautiful and strength is beautiful. So, giving a quick synopsis. First one came out in 2000. And the premise of the story: Sandra Bullock plays Grace Hart, who is a FBI agent, and she is brought into an undercover case with a beauty pageant when things are going awry with I guess like a terrorist. And so she has to help figure it out and become part of this beauty pageant at the same time. And I think that's basically like why it's so like interesting, because the story just really kind of like catches you. At least for me it did. But I want to take time to talk about why I think it was so important, why I love it. And so anyway, first of all, I already talked about this, but I just love Sandra Bullock. I think she's amazing. There's a quote that I saw in a video that she made, and I could be quoting it a little off, but it was to the effect of like talking about forgiveness and how people who hurt you, 99% of the time, they don't care. The other percent of the time, they don't know. And so when you're not forgiving them and you're not letting things go, they're moving on with their lives and you're stuck. And I remember sharing it on my social media, and I just really felt that. I felt that very strongly, and I felt the connection to that. And I don't know, I just always, even as a little girl, like I remember watching like while you were sleeping, all the time. Every Christmas, I have to watch that movie. It's so good. It's so good. But I remember watching that, and I remember like seeing her then in these movies, and I was like, she can do like all of it. And then seeing her in like some of the thrillers I've seen her in, seeing her in like The Blind Side, and like how she can do character work, and she can do like, it's just really interesting. It's a very interesting like thing to see somebody who can do that much. Also like her voice work in like The Prince of Egypt and the whole thing. Like there's so much more, but she's incredible. Love her. If she ever sees this video, not that I think she will, I don't know, but Yes, huge fan, love her. Um, and I think during this time, she was on a roll. Like, you saw her from the very beginning. She was still pumping this out. Like, she was still pounding the pavement, putting the work in. Like, she was definitely making her mark. And like you could see from the very like first movies I saw her in, like I saw her work in like I think there was like a movie, I don't remember the name of it, but there was a movie with Matthew McConaughey and he was like a lawyer. There was that one. And I saw Speed. You saw me do a video about that. Like I said, While You Were Sleeping is a big favorite of mine from a little girl. Um, so like we know and love her already. Like this is the mindset we're in. um, and like there are so many other movies that I could talk about, but like these ones, they mean so much. Like I said, they just mean so much. I would have been like 9 years old when this movie came out, and from the get go, I was like, I want to watch this movie. I want to see the movie. I love her. I love this. I love it. And it came out with like you had movies like Drop Dead Gorgeous, which I thought was stupid, and Beautiful, which is another movie that I'm going to talk about from the same year, with the same premise of beauty pageants, but in a different light. So I'm going to talk about that probably after we talk about another Sandra Bullock movie next time. But anyway, yeah. So I am so excited to see how many people are even like reposting stuff from this movie. And I recently watched it. It was available for free on Tubi. 4th of July weekend. Watched them both on 4th of July because it's so nostalgic for me. Second one came out 5 years later, 2005. I would have been about 14. And so I was like, of course I'm gonna watch it. And I think, like, obviously the thing that grabbed me first was like the clothes, the fashion, having her do like the makeover scene. I just always was a big fan. I love makeovers, always did. I'm a girly girl at heart. And so definitely, I've always loved movies where there has something to do with makeup and hair and the whole thing. Um, but I remember like the the whole thing, like even like watching the first scene, you see her as a little girl and she like stands up for this boy and she's like, don't listen to them. You're really cool. Like, hey, maybe we can hang out. And he's like, no, you're a girl. Ugh. And so then she like punches him in the face. And it's like, we know right away this is who this person is. Like, she's not gonna put up with crap. And like, it's so inspiring to like stand up for yourself. And so I really like that. And I like that, they do have like a romance, kind of almost romance. It is, but it isn't. And you kind of see him like go, like he's like, I believe in you, like you can do this. And like he's being her friend, but he's also like, he likes her too. And I think that's a really interesting part of the story too, because it keeps you invested. And like early 2000s drama was almost always centered around a relationship. So this was, this was part of it. I think as far as the first one, I really think it gets like it gets so much praise because the music and the comedy and the you know and like I think that's why like those of us who were young during that time, why we connect so much with it, because it was quotable. It was, and it, to this day, there's certain things, and I'll, I'll catch it, and I'll, you know, um, every April 25th, I have some time to say, don't forget your light jacket. And I think those are the reasons why movies stay so iconic, like Mean Girls, like so many movies. But I think also it's like you see a girl going from like a wall, like putting the wall up and like, oh, you know, even like little girl talk. But then you start to see her like, I'm, I really do want to be a part of this group. I really want to help these girls. Like, you can see her actually trying to be there for them. And I think that's really important. And I think too, we have, characters that she meets, and it's funny and it's witty, but you have this other like side of her that you're seeing. Especially when she meets the character Cheryl. Um, this is the girl from You've Got Mail. She played in You've Got Mail, and she was so funny in that. And in this, she's even funnier. Why do I relate so much to her? Some of the things I say, and then I'm like, oh, because like I say things, and I'm like, that wasn't right. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. And like the point of the relationship is like you see her kind of going like, oh, I need to help her, and like it's nice. It's just nice. Switching over to the second one, and the second one, we have them, but then we also have this other dynamic of, first of all, she has been broken up with by the guy from the first movie. I was so mad at him. I was like, and like, for what? For what? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of annoying. Like, but I can get past it because the story is so much fun. This is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's so funny, and she does comedy so well. Like, her comedy is, I will never not laugh at her comedy. Every single time I watch her movies, I'm gonna laugh because it's just involuntary. Like, it's so funny. Um, I will get to my favorite scene, but we already saw some forms of this, right? But it gets funny. But we also have this other dynamic of she meets this other FBI agent lady, played by Regina King, who, I mean, she's been in like everything. She was in Ray. She was in A Cinderella Story. I love her character in A Cinderella Story. Oh my god, it's so cute. She like helped Sam so much, and I love that. I love that. But anyway, getting back to this. She's really funny because like she's the straight man to Grace's like, I don't even know what that is. And it like works so well together. And it's just so funny. And you can tell like they were having so much fun on set, and it just worked. It just worked. I know I've seen like comments that they were like, oh, it wasn't really the best movie, but it worked so well because they handled it so well, and I just think it was so funny. But I think with that one, you have this sort of mystery of like what happened, because we see in the second one, Grace's friend Cheryl is seemingly kidnapped, and we don't know where. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know what's happening, like who did it, and she's kind of tapping back into her FBI roots with this other Agent Fuller, and they are not necessarily meshing at first. Their characters are kind of like butting each other and like, hey, and it's just not working. But then all of a sudden, she's like, "Wait, Grace, you're really good. Like you're meant to be an FBI agent. Like use that. Like I'll help you." And they go on this whole thing, and it's chaos ensues, man, and it's so funny. Um, I want to take a break from it for a second and go back to the talents because when I was rewatching um, on 4th of July, watching the first one, the scene where they actually like physically do the beauty pageant on TV, and she's like freaking out because she's figuring out everything as it's happening, and she's like, oh my god, but then she's like, I gotta go, and she runs onto the stage to do like the opening thing, and they have like a dance that they have to do. She was really good at it. Like her dancing skills. Wait a second. Because, like, they're good. And then in the second movie, there's this moment where they have to go on stage and perform as as Tina Turner and backup dancers. And so so like she's going on stage, and so like Agent Fuller has to sing Tina Turner, and then she has to like dance behind her. And at first it looks like it's gonna be a disaster. But all of a sudden, she's like, "Sell it, Tina." And she looks out at the crowd and starts singing. And we all know that Regina King is an amazing performer. So we know that's going to be okay. I want to point out that then we have our backup dancer dancing her heart out. And it's so good. Like, it's actually good. And, like, wait a second. But that's also one of my favorite scenes because, like I said, you have this, like, they go out and she's like, I'm not singing, I'm not singing, I'm not singing. And and then just like switch and it's just full on performance. And it's so funny. It's so funny. And it just, it warms the heart. And you know, I also, like I said, I did read a couple of articles that, like, they both were like, it was really not that good of a movie. It was like, are we really doing this? Do we really need to do this? But I watched some videos that popped up of, like, bloopers and stuff, and they were having a blast. And they did both say that, like, we had fun. Don't get me wrong, like, we had fun. And oh my god, it was so funny. And I feel like it almost was like you have to like go with it because it is on the verge of ridiculous. But having said that, comedy for me is funniest when it's like, right? Like for me, it makes it funnier because it's like outrageous and like a little campy. And I think that's funny. For me, I think that's funny. And I know a lot of people maybe would say like, oh, well, it's like dumb comedy. But to me, that's not dumb. That's witty. Witty comedy. And I love witty comedy. Not smart comedy. Because there's a difference. Smart comedy is like Big Bang Theory. It's like dumb. I don't like it. Witty comedy is like, we're gonna hit you with this and it's gonna be funny. Like hard hitting, you will laugh funny. And so for me, that's like why that one was also as special as the other one. And I think that the reason why the story in general just works so well is because you have this person who can handle drama, comedy. She can throw in a dance number. She can, take it serious. There's some serious moments in the movie where you see her kind of reflecting, and that emotion is there. You can see the moments when she fights back and she's like, no, like I know this is right. And, you know, the the sort of mixture of like, you know, she does have the instincts that make a good detective, like a good person to figure things out. And she also is learning how to be personable and not be fake. Because you see like the juxtaposition of like from the first movie, she's like not at all, and then she kind of like softens and you see it seems like it's normal, but then she's kind of curated into this other thing that becomes way too much. And then she learns to soften that and add a little bit of what she had before to make it her own and make her her. And by the end, you see her talking about being yourself and that it's okay to have facets to yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing that I always take away from the story is that you can have facets to yourself. You can be tough, you can be sweet, you can be funny, you can be serious. And it's okay to show those things and it's okay to have those things. And it's okay to be girly and tough. It's okay to be funny and take life seriously. It's okay to be in love, but don't let that person run your life and make you feel like they're your be all end all. Make friends, but don't be afraid to call them out on their crap. And care about yourself, but also care about others. And it just, you know, it to me, it means so much. And, what does it boil down to? World peace. And I think that's what that's what comes when you watch these movies. And I think they're so special because as I said, us as millennial girls, we grew up with so many different messages coming at us, but that message stopped everything, at least for me. And it's always a great reminder. And I love them and will always watch them and laugh every time. So, thank you for joining me as I babble on about another set of amazing movies. And tune in for another one next week. Bye, guys.